Pay $30,000 by Friday or we bulldoze it. Those words hit me like a freight train. It was 6:30 a.m. on a rainy Tuesday, and I was standing in my half-renovated Victorian home, coffee in hand, staring at a guy in a cheap suit who called himself Mr. Callahan, HOA Enforcement. My name's Ethan, and for 2 years I'd poured my soul into fixing up this crumbling 120-year-old house on Maple Lane. Every nail, every sanded floorboard, every salvaged chandelier was a piece of me. Now, this stranger was telling me my dream was 7 days from being rubble. The kicker? I'd never heard of an HOA in this neighborhood. If you've ever fought to protect something you love, a home, a passion, a legacy, you'll get why my blood was boiling. Let me take you back to how this nightmare started and how it turned into the fight of my life. It all began with that knock, loud, urgent, like someone was serving a warrant. I opened the door to find Callahan, clipboard in hand, flanked by 2 guys in vests labeled County Compliance. He shoved a neon green envelope at me, stamped with Maple Lane Heritage HOA. The letter inside demanded $30,000 for unresolved structural violations and claimed my house was a public safety hazard. Demolition was scheduled in a week unless I paid. My head spun. I'd spent 2 years getting permits, passing inspections, and restoring this place to its 1903 glory. Every beam was up to code. I looked at Callahan and said, "There's no HOA here. I bought this place free and clear." He smirked like he'd heard it before and said, "The HOA formed last month. You missed the memo. Pay up or lose it." Something was off. The letter's seal was blurry, the language stilted like it was written by someone who'd watched too many legal dramas. The county guys were taking photos of my house, measuring the porch like they were sizing it for a coffin. Callahan flashed a badge too quick for me to read and said, "Ms. Lorraine Parker, HOA President, will contact you tomorrow." Then he was gone, leaving me with a ticking clock and a gut feeling this was a scam. I wasn't new to this game. I'd flipped houses before, dealt with city officials, and knew the drill. No HOA forms overnight, and no demolition order comes without a hearing. I'd restored this house with my own hands, replaced the lead pipes, rewired the electrical, even tracked down original crown molding from a salvage yard. This wasn't just a project. It was my future. So why was some fake HOA gunning for it? That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept circling back to a weird detail from months earlier. An anonymous buyer had hired me to restore a rare 1903 telescope I'd found in the attic. Cash arrived in unmarked envelopes, always with precise instructions about polishing lenses or calibrating gears. I thought it was just a quirky side gig, but now I wondered if it was connected. The timing felt too perfect. By Wednesday, the neighborhood app was buzzing. Posts about hazardous conditions at my address signed by concerned residents. Neighbors I'd barbecued with were suddenly questioning my work. A white van circled my street, snapping more photos. I dug through my property deeds and found something odd. When I bought the house, I'd also acquired a vacant lot 2 blocks away. I'd never thought much of it. Paperwork got buried in the chaos of renovations. But now, I wondered if that lot was part of this. I drove to City Hall, heart pounding, and asked the clerk about the Maple Lane Heritage HOA. She frowned, tapped her keyboard, and said, "No record of any HOA in that area, ever. No demolition orders, no violations, nothing." I filed a complaint and got contacts for the real county sheriff. On my way home, I spotted a flyer on my door. Environmental Hazard Warning, Maple Lane. It listed my address and was signed by Lorraine Parker. My phone pinged with a voicemail from her, all honey sweet. "Ethan, let's schedule a review to avoid enforcement." The number traced to a burner phone. Thursday morning, I caught my neighbor, Mrs. Clara, watching from her porch. She's 70 sharp as a tack and the unofficial historian of Maple Lane. I asked if she'd seen anything strange. She hesitated, then pulled out a journal. "I've been watching them," she said. For weeks, she'd noted suspicious cars, including the white van, and overheard Lorraine on calls talking about acquiring properties cheap, Clara had photos of Lorraine meeting with Callahan, who wasn't a county official, but a disgraced realtor. She'd been tracking them, suspecting they targeted old houses to scare owners into selling low. Clara's evidence lit a fire in me. I called my cousin, Mia, a paralegal with a knack for hacking public records. She dug into Lorraine Parker and found a trail of fake HOAs across 3 counties. Lorraine would pose as an official, slap owners with fake violations, and pressure them to sell before demolition. The vacant lot I owned. It was zoned for a new commercial development worth millions. My house was in the way, and they wanted it gone. Friday, things got weirder. Another envelope arrived from my telescope client, cash, plus a note. Hire a lawyer. Check the lot's title. I did. The lot was tied to a shell company Lorraine had links to. She'd been planning to force me out, buy my properties cheap, and flip them for a fortune. That afternoon, a county inspector showed up, slapping warning stickers on my door. I demanded ID. He fumbled, then bolted when I pulled out my phone to call the real sheriff. By Saturday, Clara and I rallied the neighbors. We held a meeting in my living room, projecting Clara's photos on the wall. People were furious. Lorraine had sent fake notices to half the street. Mid-meeting, Lorraine walked in, all smiles, clutching her clipboard. "Ethan, let's settle this privately," she said. The room went silent. Then Clara stood up, showed her journal, and said, "We've got you on camera." Lorraine's face dropped. Neighbors started shouting, demanding answers. She stammered about misunderstandings and fled. Sunday, the real sheriff arrived. Callahan was Lorraine's brother-in-law, wearing a costume store badge. They'd been running this con for years. The police raided Lorraine's office. Turns out it was in a building I unknowingly owned from my lot purchase. Mia found proof the telescope client was Mr. Hawthorne, a retired judge who'd been watching Lorraine's scams for years. He'd hired me to restore the telescope to keep tabs on my house, slipping me legal tips to fight back. Monday, we turned the demolition day into a block party. The sheriff shut down Lorraine's operation. Her shell company collapsed, and she faced fraud charges. My house was declared a historic landmark, thanks to Clara's petition. Mr. Hawthorne played the telescope's old music box at the party, and we barbecued on the lot Lorraine wanted to steal. The neighborhood app now tracks real community news, and Mia's building an anti-scam app. Have you ever faced a con that threatened everything you built? Would you fight back or fold? Drop your story in the comments. Is justice about karma or good people standing together? If this tale fired you up, hit that like, share your fight, and let's keep scammers running scared.